Right now, in the realm of the spirit, your relocation papers are being stamped. Not just a change of address, but a divine transfer that will shift everything about your daily reality, your relationships, and your access to the spouse God has prepared for you. And here's what most people miss. God isn't just moving you to a new location, He's moving you into a prophetic picture He showed someone else years ago. Before you ever prayed about this move, before you ever felt restless in your current city, someone in your future location saw you coming. They dreamed about you, they prayed for you. And right now, the final details of your arrival are falling into place in ways that will make you weep when you look back and see how perfectly orchestrated this entire transition has been. If you've been feeling an unexplainable restlessness where you are, if you keep having dreams about places you've never been, if certain cities or regions keep showing up in your conversations, your social media feed, or even in random moments of prayer, pay very close attention to what I'm about to share with you. This isn't coincidence, this is divine coordination. And by the end of this message, you're going to understand why you've been feeling like you don't quite belong where you are anymore, why relationships in your current location feel surface level and temporary, and why God keeps drawing your attention to somewhere else. You're about to discover that your move isn't just about you finding a better opportunity. It's about you stepping into a place where everything, including your future spouse, has been prepared and is waiting for your arrival. Before we go any further, if you've never been to this channel before, welcome to God's Prophecy Message channel, where we deliver words that don't just encourage you, but activate the plans of God in your life. Do me a favor right now and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because the enemy doesn't want you to receive the confirmations and prophetic insights that come through this channel. Every time we upload, it's a word that's meant to break delay, release clarity, and confirm what God has already been whispering to your spirit. And if you're someone who's been following this channel and these messages have been blessing you, strengthening your faith, or giving you the courage to keep believing when everything looked impossible, I want to invite you to support this ministry. Right below this video, you'll see a super thanks option, or you can donate through our Buy Me Coffee link in the description. Your support doesn't just keep this channel going, it allows us to reach more women who are standing in faith for their divine spouse, who need to hear that God hasn't forgotten them, and who need prophetic confirmation that their breakthrough is closer than it appears. Sow into this work and watch God multiply it back to you in ways that confirm He sees your faithfulness. Now, as we dive into this message, I need you to do something that's going to activate your faith and let heaven know you're receiving this word. Wherever you are right now, whether you're at home, in your car, at work, or even watching this late at night when everyone else is asleep, I want you to type in the comments, "I receive." Don't just watch passively, engage with this word. Let your faith make a declaration that you're not just hearing this message, you're catching what God is releasing through it. Type "I receive" right now, and let's step into this together. Here's what God wants you to know today. You're moving. And this isn't some vague, hopeful statement that might happen someday if conditions align. This is a prophetic declaration over your life that has already been set in motion in the heavenly realm. The place you're going to isn't random. It's not just about a job transfer, a school opportunity, or needing a fresh start. This is a strategic relocation that's connected to the man God has assigned to you. And before you start questioning whether you heard that right, let me be clear, God has already shown certain people in that location a picture of you. Not your name necessarily, but your essence, your presence, your role in their city, and specifically your role in one man's life. The man you're going to marry has been prepared in that place, and you've been prepared where you are. But the union cannot happen until you're both in the same geographic location, and right now, it's your turn to move. Some of you have been sensing this for months, maybe even years. You've driven through certain neighborhoods and felt something stir in your spirit. You've watched shows or movies set in certain cities and felt an unexplainable connection. You've had conversations with people from other states or countries, and something in you lit up that you couldn't explain. You've had dreams where you were living somewhere that didn't look like your current home, and when you woke up, you felt more peace about that dream location than you do about your actual address. These aren't random thoughts. These are prophetic breadcrumbs that God has been leaving for you, preparing your heart for a transition that's going to feel both terrifying and exactly right at the same time. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." You might have made plans to stay where you are. You might have built relationships, established routines, maybe even purchased property, or signed a long lease thinking you were settling down. But God is about to interrupt those plans, not to frustrate you, but to establish steps you didn't even know you were supposed to take. And when He establishes your steps toward this new location, you're going to move with a grace and ease that shocks everyone around you. Things that should take months will happen in weeks. Doors that were closed will suddenly swing open. Finances that were tight will suddenly become available. It's not going to make logical sense, and that's how you'll know it's God. Let me tell you what's happening in the spirit right now concerning your relocation. There's a man in another city, maybe even another state or country, who has been praying for a wife. He's not praying vague prayers. He's been specific with God about the kind of woman he wants, and whether he realizes it or not, he's been describing you, your character, your values, your heart for God, your passion, even certain physical characteristics that he's mentioned in private prayers, thinking God might consider them too shallow to care about, but God cares about every detail. And over the past few months or years, God has been preparing him, maturing him, breaking off old relationship patterns, healing him from past wounds, and getting him ready to receive you. But here's the critical piece. He's been shown that his wife isn't from where he is. He's been told, either through prophetic word, through dreams, or through a knowing in his spirit, that she's coming from somewhere else. And recently, he's started to sense that her arrival is close. Now, here's where it gets even more specific, and this is where some of you are going to feel the Holy Spirit quicken this word in your spirit. In that location, there are intercessors, there are prophetic people, there are even family members of this man who have seen you in the spirit. They don't know your name yet. They haven't met you physically, but they've seen a picture of you in dreams, in visions, in moments of prayer. They've seen a woman coming into their city, into their family, into their circle, and they've been praying for your safe arrival. Some of them have seen what you look like. Others have just seen your presence, your energy, your influence. They've seen you and this man together, and they've been interceding for the timing to align, for the obstacles to be removed, and for you to have the courage to make the move when God says move. I need you to understand how significant this is. You're not moving into a place where you're going to have to fight to be accepted, struggle to find your community, or work hard to convince people of your value. You're moving into a place where you've already been prayed for, where people have already been told you're coming, where the man you're going to marry has already been prepared to recognize you when you arrive. This isn't you going somewhere to start from scratch. This is you going somewhere to step into what's already been prepared. Genesis 24 gives us a powerful picture of this kind of divine relocation. Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for his son Isaac, but he didn't just send him anywhere. He sent him to a specific place, to a specific family, because he knew that Isaac's wife was not in the land where they currently were. The servant didn't wander aimlessly. He went with divine instruction to a specific location, and when he arrived, Rebecca was already there, already prepared, already positioned for the encounter that would change her entire life. She didn't know that morning when she went to the well that by evening she would be making a decision to leave her homeland and relocate to marry a man she had never met. But everything in the spirit had already been arranged. The servant had been sent, Isaac had been prepared, the family had been prayed over, and when the moment came, Rebecca didn't hesitate. She said yes to the relocation because something in her spirit confirmed that this was her divine appointment. That's where you are right now. You're Rebecca at the well, going about your normal routine, not realizing that a divine servant, a divine setup, A divine arrangement has been dispatched to bring you into alignment with the man God has chosen for you. And just like Rebecca had to relocate, you're going to have to relocate. She had to leave her family, her familiar surroundings, her comfort zone, and you're going to have to do the same. But here's what you need to know. When God calls you to relocate for divine purpose, He doesn't just drop you into a location and wish you luck. He goes before you, He prepares the place, He arranges the connections, He opens doors that no man can shut, and He makes sure that when you arrive, you're not arriving as a stranger. You're arriving as the answer to prayers that have been prayed, the fulfillment of prophecies that have been spoken, and the missing piece that completes a picture that's been under construction for years. Some of you are thinking, but I don't have the money to move. I don't have a job lined up in that city. I don't know anyone there. How am I supposed to just pack up and go? And here's what God is saying to you today. Stop looking at your natural resources and start looking at His supernatural provision. When God moves you, He funds you. When He relocates you, He resources you. You're not going to move in your own strength or by your own means. You're going to move by divine orchestration. The job is going to show up. The opportunity is going to present itself. The money is going to come from places you didn't expect. The housing is going to open up in ways that defy the current market. Because when God is behind your move, everything that needs to align will align, and it's going to happen faster than you think. Psalm 37:23 says, "The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in Him." Notice, it doesn't say the Lord makes firm the steps of the one who has everything figured out. It says the one who delights in Him. Your part is to delight in God, to trust Him, to keep your heart postured in worship and faith, even when the logistics don't make sense yet. His part is to make your steps firm, to establish your path, to open doors, to provide resources, to connect you with the right people, to make a way where there is no way. And here's what's going to confirm to you that this move is from God. When it's time, everything is going to start accelerating. You're going to have a conversation that leads to an opportunity. You're going to receive a call that changes your circumstances. You're going to stumble across information about that city that you weren't even looking for, but it's going to feel like a divine tap on the shoulder. You're going to have a dream that's so vivid and specific about this new place that when you wake up, you'll feel like you've already been there. These are confirmations. These are God's way of saying, get ready. Your time to move is approaching. Let me tell you what else is happening. In the location you're going to, there are relationships waiting for you that are going to feel like you've known these people your whole life. You're going to meet women who become sisters, mentors who become spiritual mothers, couples who become examples of the marriage you're about to walk into. You're going to plug into a church or a community where the moment you walk in, you're going to feel like you've come home. And all of this is part of the setup. God isn't just moving you to a new city. He's moving you into a new season, a new circle, a new level of relationship and spiritual growth that's going to prepare you for the covenant marriage He's bringing you into. But here's where I need you to be really honest with yourself. Some of you are resisting this move because you're afraid. You're afraid of leaving what's familiar. You're afraid of starting over. You're afraid of being alone in a new place, not knowing anyone, not having your support system. You're afraid of what people are going to say when you announce you're moving, especially if you don't have all the details figured out yet. And the enemy is using that fear to keep you stuck in a location where your future spouse is not, where your next level of blessing is not, where the fullness of what God has for you cannot manifest because you're geographically out of position. 2 Timothy 1-7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That fear you're feeling about this move, that's not from God. That's the enemy trying to keep you locked in a place of comfort that's actually keeping you from your destiny. God has given you power to make the move. He's given you love that casts out fear. And He's given you a sound mind to make decisions based on His leading, not based on what everyone else thinks makes sense. You need to understand something. The people in your current location who are going to judge you for moving, who are going to question your decision, who are going to try to talk you out of it, those people are not going where you're going. They're not assigned to your next season. They're not part of the picture God has shown you. And if you let their opinions hold you back, you're going to miss the appointment that's been set for you in that new location. You're going to miss the man who's been praying for you. You're going to miss the community that's been prepared for you. You're going to miss the level of favor and blessing that can only be accessed in the place where God is sending you. Now, let me get very specific about what you're going to experience when you move. First, you're going to experience an immediate shift in your atmosphere. The moment you cross into that new location, something in the spiritual realm is going to shift. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel more hopeful. You're going to feel like you can breathe in a way you haven't been able to breathe where you are now. That's because you're coming out of a place where the spiritual atmosphere was heavy, where there was warfare, where there were people and situations that were draining you, and you're stepping into a place where the spiritual atmosphere has been prepared for your arrival. The intercessors in that place have been praying. The spiritual climate is ripe for what God wants to do in your life. Second, you're going to start seeing divine connections happen almost immediately. Within the first few weeks of being in that new location, you're going to meet people who are going to feel like divine appointments. You're going to have conversations that lead to opportunities. You're going to be invited into spaces and circles that normally would take years to access, but because God has gone before you, those doors are going to open quickly. And somewhere in that process, in one of those connections, in one of those conversations, in one of those divine appointments, you're going to meet him, or he's going to meet you. And when that meeting happens, both of you are going to know that this wasn't random. This wasn't chance. This was orchestrated by God. Third, you're going to experience a level of favor in that new place that you didn't experience where you were. Things are going to work out for you in ways that make no logical sense. You're going to get approved for things you shouldn't qualify for. You're going to be offered opportunities you didn't apply for. You're going to be celebrated and recognized in ways that feel disproportionate to the time you've been there. And it's all because when God relocates you for his purpose, he doesn't just move you, he promotes you. He positions you, he elevates you. Because your move isn't just about you finding a spouse. Your move is about you stepping into the fullness of what God has called you to be, and the spouse is one of the blessings that comes with that obedience. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." God is doing a new thing in your life, and this relocation is part of that new thing. It's springing up right now. You're starting to perceive it. You're starting to sense it. You're starting to see the signs, and God is making a way where there was no way. He's bringing streams of blessing, provision, connection, and relationship into places that used to feel like a wasteland. Your current location might feel like a wasteland when it comes to relationships, when it comes to finding your spouse, when it comes to building the kind of life you've been dreaming about. But where God is sending you, streams are going to flow. Life is going to flourish, and everything you've been believing for is going to begin to manifest. Now, some of you are wondering, how will I know exactly when to move? How will I know it's the right time? Here's what you need to watch for. You're going to start seeing patterns and signs that all point to this one location. It might be a city name that keeps coming up in conversations, on TV, in articles you're reading, in random moments. It might be people from that area reaching out to you for seemingly random reasons. It might be job opportunities or school programs in that city that suddenly become available. It might be friends or family members who live in that area suddenly extending invitations for you to visit. These aren't coincidences, these are divine markers. God is dropping breadcrumbs, and he's expecting you to follow them. You're also going to feel a release in your spirit. Right now, you might feel tied to where you are out of obligation, familiarity, or fear. But when it's time to move, you're going to feel a release. You're going to wake up one day and realize you're not emotionally attached to your current location anymore. You're going to start seeing it as a chapter that's closing rather than the whole book. You're going to start feeling excited about what's next instead of anxious about leaving what is. That release is God's way of untying you from what was so you can step into what's next. And then there's going to be a very clear, undeniable open door. It might be a job offer that comes out of nowhere. It might be a lease that ends at the perfect time. It might be finances that suddenly become available. It might be a prophetic word that confirms what God has been speaking to you privately. When that open door comes, don't overthink it. Don't analyze it to death. Don't ask 50 people for their opinion. If it aligns with what God has been showing you, if it matches the patterns and signs He's been giving you, if it feels like peace in your spirit despite the fear of change, that's your green light. That's God saying, it's time. Move now. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." The plan God has for you includes this relocation. It includes you being in a specific place at a specific time to meet a specific person. And that plan is to prosper you, not harm you. It's to give you hope, not anxiety. It's to give you a future, not just keep you comfortable in the familiar. Trust that God's plan is better than your comfort. Trust that His timing is better than your fear. Trust that His provision will match His instruction. Let me address something that some of you are feeling. You're thinking, what if I move and it doesn't work out? What if I get there and I don't meet him right away? What if I relocate and then I'm stuck in a new city, alone, without my support system, and I've made a huge mistake? First of all, if God is leading you to move, it's not a mistake. Even if the timeline doesn't unfold exactly as you imagine, even if you don't meet your spouse within the first month of being there, you're still exactly where God needs you to be. Sometimes God moves us into position before He brings the person, and He uses that waiting period in the new location to prepare us, to heal us, to connect us with the community and the resources we're going to need when the relationship does begin. Ruth relocated to a foreign land with Naomi, not knowing what her future held, not knowing that she would meet Boaz, not having any guarantees that things would work out. But she moved in obedience. She stayed faithful in the new location, and in God's perfect timing, she encountered the man who would become her husband, her Redeemer, and the one through whose lineage the Savior of the world would come. Your relocation is that significant. It's not just about you meeting someone. It's about you positioning yourself for a generational blessing. It's about you stepping into an assignment that's bigger than just your personal happiness. It's about you saying yes to God's plan even when you can't see the full picture. And let me tell you what's going to make this move even more powerful. When you do meet your future spouse in this new location, the story of how you both got there is going to be so clearly orchestrated by God that it's going to strengthen both of your faith. You're going to sit across from each other, sharing your stories of how you ended up in that city, and you're going to realize that God was directing both of your steps for years, moving pieces into place, closing doors here and opening doors there, all so that you would both arrive in the same location at the same time. That testimony is going to be the foundation of your marriage. It's going to be the reminder in hard times that God brought you together, and what God has joined, no man, no circumstance, no challenge can separate. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." You're going to have to trust God with this move. You can't lean on your own understanding because it's not going to make complete sense yet. You're going to have questions that don't have answers. You're going to have concerns that can't be resolved until you take the step. But when you submit your ways to Him, when you trust Him with the details, when you move in obedience even when it's uncomfortable, He will make your paths straight. He will guide you. He will provide for you. He will protect you. And He will bring you into the exact place where everything He's promised you is waiting. I want to talk to those of you who have children. You're thinking, how can I uproot my kids? How can I move them away from their school, their friends, their routine? And I hear you. That's a valid concern. But let me tell you what God is saying. The relocation He's calling you to is not just for you, it's for your children too. Where He's sending you, there are better opportunities for your kids. There are better schools, better influences, better environments. And the man you're going to meet, the man you're going to marry, he's already prepared to be a father to your children. He's already been shown that you come as a package, and he's ready for it. He's excited about it. Your children aren't a barrier to this move. They're part of the blessing that's going to be multiplied when you obey God and relocate. And for those of you who are worried about leaving aging parents or family members who depend on you, God sees that too. He's not calling you to abandon anyone. He's calling you to trust him with the people you love while you obey his instruction for your life. And here's what you're going to find. When you put God first, when you obey his leading even when it's hard, he takes care of the people you're concerned about. He raises up other support for them. He provides in ways you couldn't have provided. And sometimes, your obedience becomes the catalyst for breakthrough in their lives too. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." When you seek first God's kingdom, when you prioritize his plan over your comfort, over other people's opinions, over your own fears, he adds everything else you need. He takes care of your concerns. He provides for your needs. He protects what matters to you. Your job is to seek him first. His job is to take care of everything else. Now let's talk about the practical side of this move, because I know some of you are very practical people, and you need to know that God cares about the details. He does. He cares about where you're going to live. He cares about how you're going to afford it. He cares about your job situation. He cares about your transportation. And he's already working on all of it. Before you even start looking for housing in that new city, God has already prepared a place for you. It might be an apartment that becomes available at the exact right time. It might be a house that's within your budget when nothing else in that market is. It might be a roommate situation that provides both affordability and community. Trust that God is handling the housing. The job situation, God's handling that too. You might get transferred within your current company. You might get recruited by a company in that city. You might find that you're able to work remotely and the move doesn't even require a job change. Or you might step out in faith, move first, and watch God open doors to employment that you never would have found if you'd waited until everything was perfectly lined up. Sometimes God asks us to move before we have all the details because he wants our trust to be in him, not in our circumstances. And let's talk about the financial provision, because I know some of you are thinking, I'm barely making it where I am. How am I supposed to afford a move? Here's what's about to happen. Money is going to come from unexpected places. You might get a bonus you weren't expecting. You might receive a tax return that's larger than anticipated. Someone might bless you financially who has no idea you're planning to move. You might sell something that you didn't think had value. God has 1,000 ways to get resources to you, and when he's funding your relocation, the provision is going to show up exactly when you need it. Philippians 4:19 says, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." Notice it says all your needs, not some, not most, all. According to his riches, not according to your bank account. When God calls you to relocate, he doesn't expect you to fund it on your own. He takes responsibility for providing what you need because he's the one who issued the assignment. Let me also address the timeline, because some of you are wondering if this move is going to happen next month or next year. Here's what I'm sensing in the spirit. For some of you, this move is going to happen within the next 3 to 6 months. You're in the final stages of preparation. The doors are about to open. The confirmation is about to come. The resources are about to be released. You're closer than you think. For others, this move is going to happen within the next 6 to 12 months. There are still some things God is working out, some things he's preparing in you and in the situation, but it's coming. And for a few of you, you're in a 1 to 2 year preparation window. God is showing you the vision now so you can start preparing mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. Don't be discouraged by the timeline. Just stay obedient to what God is showing you in each phase. Here's what you need to do while you're waiting for the timing to align. Start researching that city. Even if you're not moving tomorrow, start familiarizing yourself with the area. Look at neighborhoods. Research churches, look at job markets, learn about the culture of that city. This isn't being presumptuous, this is being prepared. This is stewarding the vision God has given you, and as you research, you're going to feel that confirmation in your spirit growing stronger. You're going to see things that resonate with you. You're going to feel excited. You're going to start to see yourself there. That's God building your faith and getting you ready for the move. Also, start praying specifically for that city. Pray for the man who's there waiting for you. Pray that God would continue to prepare him, protect him, keep him from wrong relationships, and help him stay faithful to God's plan. Pray for the community you're going to be part of. Pray for the church you're going to attend. Pray for the job or opportunity that's going to open up for you. Pray for safe travel when the time comes. Pray for smooth transitions. Pray that God would go before you and prepare everything you need. Your prayers are powerful, and they're already shifting things in the spirit in that location. And start making practical preparations. If you need to save money, start now. If you need to clear debt, start working on that now. If you need to downsize your belongings, start that process now. If you need to tie up loose ends in your current location, start doing that now. God honors our obedience in the natural while He's working in the supernatural. Don't wait until everything is perfectly aligned before you start preparing. Start where you are with what you have, and watch God bless your preparation. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant, whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never move. If you wait until every question is answered, every fear is resolved, every detail is figured out, you'll miss your window. At some point, you're going to have to take a step of faith. You're going to have to move while you're still a little scared. You're going to have to pack up even though you don't have every answer. You're going to have to say yes to God even when it doesn't make complete sense. That's what faith is. Faith isn't the absence of fear. Faith is obedience in the presence of fear. Now, I want to speak to the enemy's tactics because he's not going to make this easy for you. The closer you get to your moving date, the more opposition you're going to face. Things are going to break down. Unexpected expenses are going to pop up. People are going to suddenly have opinions about your move. You might face delays that frustrate you. You might encounter obstacles that make you question if you heard God correctly. This is warfare. This is the enemy trying to stop you from getting to the place where your breakthrough is waiting. Don't be surprised by the resistance. Expect it, and when it comes, don't let it shake your faith. Let it confirm that you're onto something big, something significant, something that the enemy doesn't want you to walk into. When opposition comes, here's what you do. You stand firm in what God has spoken to you. You remind yourself of every confirmation He's given you. You go back to the dreams, the prophetic words, the scriptures that have jumped out at you, the signs you've seen. You rehearse God's faithfulness in your past. You worship through the resistance. You declare God's promises over your situation, and you keep moving forward. The enemy's goal is to get you to quit, to turn back, to settle for staying where you are. Your goal is to outlast the resistance and step into what God has prepared. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The resistance you're facing isn't really about the logistics of moving, it's spiritual. There are assignments against your relocation because your move threatens the enemy's plans to keep you isolated, discouraged, and away from your spouse. When you relocate in obedience to God, you're not just changing your address, you're disrupting demonic assignments, you're breaking generational curses. You're stepping into a new level of authority and blessing that the enemy doesn't want you to access. So, when people start discouraging you, when unexpected problems arise, when things feel chaotic, recognize it as confirmation that you're on the right track. The enemy doesn't fight people who aren't a threat. He doesn't waste energy on people who are staying comfortable and playing it safe. The fact that you're experiencing resistance means you're about to step into something powerful. Push through. Don't quit now. Your breakthrough is on the other side of this battle. Let me also talk about what's going to happen after you move, because the story doesn't end with the relocation. Once you're in that new location, there's going to be an adjustment period. The first few weeks might feel exciting and overwhelming at the same time. You're going to be setting up your new home, exploring your new city, meeting new people, finding your new routine. Give yourself grace during this season. Don't expect to have everything figured out immediately. Don't put pressure on yourself to meet your spouse within the first month. Remember, God moved you there not just for a person, but for a season of growth, preparation, and positioning. During those first few months in your new location, focus on building your relationship with God. Find a church home where you feel spiritually fed and connected. Get involved in community. Make friends. Establish your routine. Enjoy discovering your new city. All of this is part of the process. And while you're doing this, God is orchestrating the divine setup. He's aligning schedules. He's creating opportunities. He's positioning both you and your future spouse for the encounter that's coming. And when that encounter happens, here's what you need to know. You're going to recognize him, but it might not be love at first sight in the Hollywood sense. It might be a knowing. It might be a peace. It might be a confirmation in your spirit that this is what you moved for. Don't dismiss someone because the meeting doesn't feel like fireworks. Sometimes the most powerful connections start with a quiet knowing, a deep peace, a sense of rightness that grows stronger the more time you spend together. Also, be open to how you meet. It might not be at church, though it could be. It might be at work. It might be through mutual friends. It might be at a community event. It might be at a coffee shop, a grocery store, a gym. God is creative, and he doesn't always use the settings we expect. What matters is not where you meet, but that you recognize the encounter when it happens. And if you've been praying, if you've been listening to God's voice, if you've been obedient to relocate, you're going to recognize him. The Holy Spirit will confirm it. Song of Solomon 8-4 says, "Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires." Don't force relationships in your new location just because you moved there expecting to meet your spouse. Let God orchestrate the timing. Let the connection unfold naturally. Trust that if you're in the right place, the right person will show up at the right time. Desperation will cause you to miss what God is doing. Patience and trust will position you to receive exactly what he has for you. One more thing I want you to know. When you do meet your spouse in this new location, and when your relationship develops and eventually leads to marriage, you're going to look back on this season of waiting and preparation and relocating, and you're going to be so grateful that you trusted God. You're going to be grateful that you didn't settle for relationships in your old location that felt convenient but weren't God's best. You're going to be grateful that you had the courage to move even when it was scary. You're going to be grateful that you listened to God's voice above all the other voices trying to influence you. And your testimony is going to encourage so many other women who are in the season you're in right now, wondering if they should trust God enough to relocate for a promise they haven't seen yet. Your story is going to be powerful. Your marriage is going to be a testimony of God's faithfulness. And the life you build in that new location is going to be the evidence that when God gives you a picture of something, he has the power and the intention to bring it to pass. You're not moving on a whim. You're not moving based on wishful thinking. You're moving based on divine instruction, prophetic insight, and a knowing in your spirit that God has prepared something for you that can only be accessed in a new location. Hebrews 11:8 says, "By faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going." That's the kind of faith God is calling you to. Abraham didn't have all the details. He didn't have a map with turn-by-turn directions. He didn't have a timeline, but he had God's instruction, and he obeyed. And because of his obedience, he stepped into an inheritance that blessed not just him, but generations after him. Your relocation is that significant. Your obedience is that important. And the inheritance that's waiting for you in that new location is going to bless not just you, but your future children, your future family, and everyone connected to your life. So, If you're watching this and you've been sensing that you need to move, if you've been feeling restless where you are, if you've been seeing signs and confirmations about a specific location, if God has been dropping breadcrumbs that all point to somewhere else, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Don't let fear talk you out of it. This is God speaking to you. This is Him giving you the picture of the place before He moves you there. And He's not showing you the picture to tease you or to frustrate you. He's showing you the picture so you can prepare your heart, your mind, your faith, and your life for the transition that's coming. You're moving. The papers are already stamped in the heavenly realm. The place is already prepared. The people are already praying. The man is already waiting. And your arrival is going to complete a picture that's been under construction for longer than you know. Trust God with the timing. Trust Him with the details. Trust Him with the provision. And when He says move, move. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Don't wait for everyone else to agree. Move in obedience and watch Him confirm every step you take. Before we close, I want you to do something. I want you to take a moment right now and thank God for the place He's preparing for you. Even though you haven't moved yet, even though you might not know the exact address, thank Him for orchestrating this relocation. Thank Him for the man who's waiting for you there. Thank Him for the community that's been praying for your arrival. Thank Him for the provision that's already in place. Thank Him for the courage He's giving you to step out in faith. And as you thank Him, I want you to type in the comments, blessed and ready. Let that be your declaration that you're receiving this word. You believe what God is showing you, and you're ready to move when He says, move. Here's what I believe is going to happen in the coming weeks and months. Some of you are going to receive very clear confirmations about this relocation. You're going to get phone calls, emails, opportunities, invitations that all point to the same location. You're going to have dreams that become more vivid and specific. You're going to feel that release in your spirit that tells you it's time. And when those confirmations come, don't overthink them. Don't analyze them to death. Receive them as God's green light and start moving forward with boldness and confidence. Others of you are going to experience supernatural provision. Money is going to show up that you weren't expecting. Doors are going to open that were previously closed. Resources are going to become available that allow you to make this move sooner than you thought possible. When that provision comes, recognize it as God's faithfulness and steward it well. Use it to move forward, not to stay comfortable where you are. And all of you, regardless of your specific timeline, are going to feel a shift in your faith. You're going to feel stronger, more confident, more certain that God is leading you. You're going to feel less attached to your current location and more excited about what's next. You're going to feel peace about a decision that used to terrify you. That shift in your faith is God's way of preparing you internally for the external move that's coming. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Your relocation is part of God working all things together for your good. Every delay you've experienced, every relationship that didn't work out, every plan that fell apart, it was all leading to this. God was positioning you, preparing you, protecting you so that when the time came to relocate for His purpose, you would be ready. And you are ready. You might not feel ready, but you are. God wouldn't be showing you this picture if you weren't ready to step into it. So here's my final word to you today. Don't let fear steal your future. Don't let comfort keep you from your destiny. Don't let other people's lack of vision limit what God is trying to do in your life. You're moving. It's not a question. It's a prophetic declaration. The only question is whether you're going to move in faith and obedience, or whether you're going to resist and delay what God has already set in motion. I'm praying that you choose faith. I'm praying that you choose obedience. I'm praying that you choose to trust God with the details and step forward even when you can't see the whole staircase. Your future spouse is waiting. Your new community is waiting. Your next level of blessing is waiting. And it's all in the place God has shown you. The picture is clear. The location is set. The timing is aligning. Now it's your turn to respond. Pack your faith, pack your courage, pack your trust in God. And get ready to move into the place where everything you've been believing for is waiting to manifest. If this message has blessed you, if it's confirmed what God has been speaking to you, if it's given you the courage to take the next step, I want you to do a few things. First, hit that like button. Let me know this word resonated with you. Second, drop a comment below and type blessed and ready. Let that be your declaration of faith. Third, subscribe to God's Prophecy Message channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss future messages that are going to encourage you, strengthen you, and confirm what God is doing in your life. Fourth, share this video with someone who needs to hear this word, someone who's been contemplating a move, someone who's been feeling restless where they are, someone who needs confirmation that God is orchestrating their steps. And if you've been blessed by this ministry, if these messages have been a source of strength and encouragement in your journey of faith as you wait for your spouse, I want to invite you to support this channel. You can click the Super Thanks button below this video, or you can donate through our Buy Me Coffee link in the description. Your support allows us to continue creating prophetic content that reaches women around the world who are believing God for covenant marriage. When you sow into this ministry, you're not just supporting a channel, you're partnering with God to spread hope, faith, and encouragement to thousands of women who need to know that God hasn't forgotten them. Remember, you're not watching this video by accident. God led you here today because He wanted you to receive this confirmation about your relocation. He wanted you to know that you're moving, that the place is prepared, that the man is waiting, and that your obedience to relocate is going to unlock blessings you can't even imagine right now. Trust Him, obey Him, and get ready to step into the picture He's shown you. I'm believing with you for a supernatural relocation that happens with divine timing, supernatural provision, and perfect orchestration. I'm believing that when you arrive in that new location, everything God promised you will be there waiting. I'm believing that your testimony of God's faithfulness is going to be so powerful that it strengthens the faith of everyone who hears it. You're moving, you're blessed, and you're ready. Now go forth in faith and watch God do what only He can do. God bless you. I'll see you in the next message.